Hello and welcome to a brand new week here on my channel. My name is Samantha if you're brand new here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you one of the new EYN palettes that have recently launched from Beauty Bay, and this one is the Bright Matte 42 colour palette. And I'm going to be sharing with you a few swatches. I'm going to be obviously trialing this product, and I'm going to be giving you my thoughts. So that's the packaging. Now the packaging throughout the whole collection is the same. It's very holographic and purple. The only difference obviously is the name of the palette, and in this case it's the Bright Matte palette. On the back of the packaging you have a little bit of information about the actual palette itself, the ingredients, and also it is cruelty free and vegan. I think this one retailed for £23, but obviously links will be down below. Then looking at the palette itself, it is matte black. And in this case, because all of the fonts actually change, so for example if you purchase the fiery, it's very much fiery and orange, but they all change, so that you know that obviously if you store them outside of the packaging in a drawer, something like that, you know which one is which, obviously by colour as well as the name. The Bright Matte is there on the front, so it's very blue, beautiful. And then on the back, the outer packaging information is transferred onto the inside. Apart from the ingredients, have that little bit of information, the name of the palette, that it is cruelty free and vegan as well. Now what I will say about the packaging is that even though it is a card packaging or card palette, it really does feel good quality. It doesn't feel cheap and inexpensive and that perhaps it's going to fall to pieces. Not at all. It is very, very much high quality, and I love the packaging throughout these palettes. So also I just want to mention that there is a blue trim. As with the other palettes, the font on the front is then carried through onto that little bit of trim there. So let's open this up and have a look. You do get a huge mirror there, and then these are your colours. Now I'm just going to turn it upside down for ease of showing you. And I was drawn to this palette not because I like greens, or I mean I do like yellows, but I don't like greens. I'm not a big fan of blues either. But what really drew me to this palette was these pinks and purples at the bottom. I really, really love pinks and purples. I was a little bit thinking, was I going to be overwhelmed by this palette like the fiery palette? But actually I've tested it out this morning already on one eye, just because I wanted to, it's out obviously of my comfort zone. I love nudes and neutral colours usually. So I wanted to trial it first of all off camera to see what kind of look I came up with off camera, and then obviously share that with you on camera. Sometimes I feel a little bit rushed when I'm on camera, and I perhaps a little bit, you know, slap happy with the shades. So I went with the pinks and the purples, which is exactly what I wanted, and I started off with a nude. So really, really love the fact that in this palette, the colorways, you actually get nude shades as well. So if you want to obviously start off with a neutral base, you can do that. And also this could be perhaps a one-stop palette for, you know, someone who wanted bright but they also want nudes incorporated in it as well. So I really like that. I also really like this grungy yellow. I do actually like a couple of the blues as well, but you know, usually I stay away from those colours. But what I like about these bright palettes, which have you know, a whole mixture of shades, you can really get very creative and do exactly what you want, which of course I have done today, and I went with the pinks from there and some of the purples there. So let's get to swatching a few of these. Now this is a whole matte palette, there's no shimmers in here, so the look that I've created today is just matte, because I wanted to show you that you can create a whole eye look just with mattes. And I do think that the Beauty Bay collection of eyeshadows in particular are so, their mattes are so outstanding. They really are good quality, they blend beautifully, they feel expensive, much more expensive. I mean £23 for, it's 42 shades, isn't it? 42 shades, that is good, you know, good amount of product for the amount that you're paying. So let's do a couple of shades from each row. So I think I will do the black definitely, which is called Illicit, which is from the top row. So this is your black. So it swatches like that. What I will, if I can speak, what I will also say is that across the board with these palettes, some of the mattes do not necessarily swatch that great, but they apply beautifully on the eye. So obviously I am going to be sharing with you a few shades that you can, you know, perhaps see the shades that are within this palette, but the performance or how they perform is obviously how they apply on the eye. Let's go for Drizzle, which is that grey on the top row. Oh, I really like grey. I have been testing out a few greys from other palettes, notably a shimmer, but beautiful. So really getting into greys, and I really like that you've got that neutral top row. Right, let's go into some bright. So Make Them Wink. Wow, that is a bright pink. So Make Them Wink is that shade. Let's go for Dragon Fruit as well. So a couple of pinks there. So you can see from Make Them Wink, it's very powdery when you swatch it, and that grey, but you know, I have tested out about 5 of their palettes, if not 6, and this is exactly what happens with all of the palettes. The swatches are quite poor, but they work beautifully on the eye. Okay, let's go for Hot Stuff, which is a very, very bright corally red. So there's your coral red, and then I will go for, I'm just cleaning my hand so we don't have any transference. Let's go for Tangerine Dream. So there's another 2 from the next row. Let's go for Daffodil Delight, which is a beautiful yellow. I'm going to have to turn around a little bit. So Daffodil Delight. I must admit, perhaps the reason why they don't swatch terribly well is because they are more like pigments than, you know, just eyeshadow. I'm going to go for Oasis, which is it's a different green, that kind of green. Okay. Now we're on to the next row, a couple from here. I'm going to go for Paradise, which is like a baby blue. And which other one shall I go for? I think Daydream, which is an aqua. Okay, there's some blues there. Again, not terribly, not swatching terribly well. Modern Way is a beautiful purple. So that's Modern Way. And then the last one that I'm going to swatch is Living for Lavender. There we go, Living for Lavender is there. Okay, so there are all of the swatches that I'm going to be sharing with you today. Out of all of these large palettes, I never swatch all of them. We would be here all day. Not only that, we don't wear eyeshadow on our arm. It is just to give you a little bit of an interpretation of the palette. So let's start the eye look off. So I'm going in with Bare Necessity, which is this shade here. I started off neutral. It just makes me feel a lot more comfortable. I know where I am, and it worked to set the base, and then it worked beautifully to layer another shade on top of it. The brush that I'm using is the 251, I should know it off by heart by now, Iron Crease contour brush from Primark. Absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous, fluffy, washes up beautifully, and it just works to layer on that first shade. So that's the first shade applied. Now I'm going to go in with a pink, and I went in with Strawberry Bonbon. Let me just, yeah, that is my brush. So strawberry, in fact, I'm going to clean it off a little bit. using my colour switcher from Primark. I call it a colour switcher, it's possibly not called that, but it just works like the colour switcher. Okay, so I'm going to go into Strawberry Bonbon, which is, let me just show you, it's difficult with such a big palette. That one there, it's like a muted pink. So I applied that in the crease and then took that up quite high. Excuse me, I may also have to go in with that shade again, but beautiful. It laid down perfectly and yeah, really loved that. Then I went in with the shade Tutti Frutti, which is right beside it. That one there, so Tutti Frutti. I just wanted a little bit more of a deeper pink. So not taking this one up as high as the first one. Blending beautifully, and also I took Tutti Frutti underneath the eye as well. There's that pink base. I thought I would do something different. I've seen a lot of looks used with this palette, like yellows and blues and greens, and I wanted to, I mean, like I say, I picked it up because I really liked the look of the pinks and purples. So yeah, I thought that's the kind of look that I would do for you today. So next shade I went in with was called Sugar Plum, which is this shade here. So Sugar Plum, again, it's quite muted. But yeah, really like the look of this, and just going to start in the crease, just take it a little way through and then just pat that up a little bit. So I'm going to take it up a little bit, but not as far as the pink. But you can see that purple now coming through. This brush is the Eye Contour brush, also from Primark, but this one is £1. The first one that I used comes in a quad of or a set of brushes. Okay, so that's the second shade applied. I then went in with, I've got to remember, oh yeah, Wisteria, because I've swatched some of them. It's a little bit difficult to remember. So Wisteria is the one next to Sugar Plum. I've got foundation on my top. Don't know how I did that, but never mind. Okay, so Wisteria, and this time I patted it on to the outer third of the lid as well. Absolutely beautiful. And again, just underneath the eye, this time the first third, just to mimic what we've already done. I'm just going to get the another brush. This is just a brush from Profusion. It's one of the ones that comes in their sets. I'm just going to get a little bit of Strawberry Bonbon and just put that through there and like that. Okay, now I'm going to go into Drama Queen, which is this shade here. Bottom and bottom row, very last purple, and this is going to give the depth. So I'm just keeping that right into the crease there, just taking it along a little bit, not too much, like that. Get that first brush again. I think I've been a little bit more heavy-handed with the look second eye, just because I'm a little bit more confident about the shades this time. Oh. beautiful, absolutely beautiful shades. I hope I'm not jogging the camera too much. I've got the palette, because it's huge, I've got it resting on my knees and on the table with the camera. Okay, so that's the first part of the eye look complete. Just want to make sure. There we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go into the shade. I went in with, was it? It was no it wasn't, it was Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth, this one here, first pink on the pink row. Okay, and then I applied it with a finger onto my lid. Whether it's a matte or a shimmer, I always apply the lid shade with a finger. It just works beautifully. Absolutely love that shade. And then I'm just going back into Drama Queen again, the same brush that I used, and just lightly brush that over like that. We've got no harsh lines. Okay, now I'm going to get this brush. You can use any pencil brush. Most of my brushes are in the wash actually. This is from Primark. It's called the PS Pro Shading Eye Brush. I'm not sure if these are available anymore, but any you know, very small brush. I'm going into Nothing Else, which is the second shade on the first row, and I'm just going to pop this shade on as my inner corner. Even though it's matte, it works beautifully. Like that. Now, so that's the eye look complete using the eyeshadows. Absolutely love it. I'm just going to apply a little bit of eyeliner. This is from Revolution. It's the HD Smoky Waterproof Liner. I use this every day, and this is still my first one, and I have had it so long. You hardly need any of the product on, and that is why it lasts so long. I'm going to use the Mascara Revolution, obviously mascara. Like that. I've also used the Liner Revolution as well, and this is the Liner Revolution. It's a felt tip liner. I should have applied this first before mascara. Might have to go in again. It's only a tiny little bit of definition there. I'm just going to neaten up those lashes now. Perfect. Okay, so that is my look using the new Beauty Bay EYN Bright Matte Palette. I was actually worried about using that because when I used the Fiery palette from the range as well, which is another 42 colour palette, I found it a little bit overwhelming. Perhaps it's because the whole palette for the Fiery palette was very orange. With this one you've got a lot of, you know, different rows with different shades on there, so perhaps that's why I found that easier. I was going to get a 9-pan palette perhaps to, you know, create a look, because with a 9-pan palette it gives you much more of an identified look, whereas this one you have to really think about the look that you want to create. But actually I didn't find it overwhelming at all. I really enjoy the look. I love the pinks and purples together. I must still say that I absolutely love the formula of these eyeshadows. I still stand by the fact that I would say that these are some of the best eyeshadows that I have used, and I have tested out a lot of palettes. So absolutely love the formula, particularly of the mattes. I just think they work so well together. They're beautiful, and even though this is bright, I don't feel that it's overwhelmingly bright. I'm not a big fan of bright eyeshadow. Like I said, not really keen on, you know, yellow, greens and blues all mixed together, but I think with a palette like this one, you have such a selection that there is definitely something for everyone. I really love it, and it's also a palette that can let your creativity run wild. I love it, and I also like the fact that they have added some neutrals in there. So you know, I really like to add a neutral base sometimes and then give that real pop of colour on the lid. I love those type of looks, and with this palette you can do endless looks, whether you really do like those bright looks, or whether, like me, you like a little bit more of a subtle bright eye look. You can achieve that with that palette. I think that Beauty Bay have really excelled themselves with their palettes. I love it so much, and yeah, even though this is bright, it's out of my comfort zone. It's not a palette that I would usually go for. I went with this one because I love their other palettes so much, and I thought absolutely I'm going to try it, and I'm really pleased that I did. It's absolutely beautiful. The formula's amazing, and I think for £23, beautiful, absolutely stunning. So that's me testing out the new Beauty Bay EYN Bright Matte palette. I can't wait to see what they come out with next. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to perhaps more eyeshadow palettes, but I think there is something in the offing tomorrow coming perhaps our way. So obviously do keep looking at the Beauty Bay site, or sign up. I think, is it a tribe member, and you obviously get news updates about what they're launching next, so that's probably the best idea. Okay, so that is the first video of the week under my belt. I will be back tomorrow. Obviously I would love all of your feedback, your comments about the palette, about the eye look. Are you going to pick that one up? Have you already picked it up, and what are your thoughts? And of course, if you have just stumbled, I still can't speak, if you have just stumbled across my channel, I would love it if you subscribe to watch further videos. But as always, until next time, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye.